And this straight out to Norma Patton, who has been looking exhaustively for her daughter. No one will listen. She's told, oh, she's run off with a boyfriend. What boyfriend? Oh, she'll come back. You knew all along your daughter would never have left her children. When did you learn that the skull, which had been misidentified as a white male, is your daughter?
Bruce Jordan from Fayette County. He came to the house, to my home, and I walked outside on the porch, and I was told that she had been identified in Atlanta, that her body had been dismembered.
What went through your mind after all the time you had searched for your daughter and you get this news?
I, I was devastated completely. I screamed and I was crying. My two grandkids that were here with me came out to find out what was going on, and I just didn't know what to do.
Tina Patton, how did you discover that all this time your sister had been dead and her body misidentified as a white male?
I received a phone call and they said, "Have you seen the news?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Well, Melissa was found and all they found was her skull."
What went through your mind?
How? How could this happen to her? And I was just distraught.
She came in one night with a handprint around her throat. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. And I knew what it was. It was Chris.
It was the look in his eyes when I met him. You could just see the meanness in his eyes.
Melissa didn't deserve what she got. She didn't deserve it.
How could this be? All this time, her family begging police, begging other investigators, telling them she's missing. No one took them seriously. Then, when a dismembered skull and body parts are found, they're misidentified as a white male. Only later, after a dental record examination, was it discovered those remains are in fact Melissa. Listen.
My main focus is on the bags Melissa's body was placed in. We both know it would be hard to tie knots, especially in plastic bags, without leaving trace evidence of some sort. Whenever murder occurs, some kind of evidence is left, no matter how careful the killer is. Evidence will be there. It may be overlooked, but that does not mean it's not there. There is no perfect crime.
That is a letter from Melissa's dad being read by our friend Walt McCullum, still seeking justice for his daughter. That's Carl Patton. But what more do we know? We know that the body, the remains, were in plastic bags. Joseph Morgan, plastic bags can be a forensic treasure trove. Why?
Well, first off, you can trace them back to the manufacturer. Whoever made these things, you can actually get it down to the run that they came off of. The perforations on each bag, you begin to think about how they're connected, what type of bag it is. Also, the plastic that you talk about, the plastic bags, one of the things that we look at is that plastic bags are a non-porous surface. So guess what you can find many times? You can find latent prints. And when you look at the knots and the way bags are tied, think about how you have to manipulate that bag in order to tie it up. That's why we have to be very, very careful when we're undoing a knot, for instance, at the crime lab or even in the morgue, so that we don't destroy any of that evidence. Not to mention, if the individual has left any of their DNA there on that bag, that in fact could kind of cap off this idea of it being a treasure trove for forensic evidence.
Exactly. And what do we learn from the remains themselves?